Matera, Italy, 3:15 a.m. The ancient city was shrouded in an unsettling silence when Mel Gibson received an urgent call from the set of The Passion of the Christ. His assistant director's voice trembled as he described what had just happened during the night shoot of the Sermon on the Mount scene. Jim Caviezel, the actor portraying Jesus, had been struck by lightning. Gibson rushed to the location, driving through the narrow, winding streets of the historic city. The limestone caves and ancient dwellings cast eerie shadows in the pre-dawn darkness. When he arrived, the atmosphere on set was tense. Crew members huddled in small groups, speaking in hushed tones. Medical personnel were attending to Caviezel, who appeared shaken but remarkably unharmed. "I felt it go right through my body," Caviezel would later recall, his eyes reflecting the intensity of the experience. The lightning strike that hit Caviezel was just the beginning of a series of inexplicable events that would unfold during the filming of The Passion of the Christ. Throughout the production, cast and crew members reported numerous unusual occurrences that seemed to transcend mere coincidence. Equipment malfunctions plagued the most crucial scenes, particularly during the portrayal of Christ's suffering. Cameras would stop working without explanation during the crucifixion sequences, only to function perfectly once the scenes concluded. Sound technicians captured unexplained voices in their recordings, and lights would dim or extinguish themselves during pivotal moments. Perhaps most unsettling were the reports from various crew members who claimed to see a cloaked figure watching from the distances, always during the most emotionally charged scenes. The figure would vanish when approached, leaving no trace of its presence. As news of these occurrences spread through Hollywood, The Passion of the Christ became more than just another film production. The $30 million personal investment from Mel Gibson seemed to carry a weight beyond its financial implications. The director's decision to film in ancient Aramaic and Latin, combined with his commitment to historical accuracy, already marked this as an unconventional project. The crew, consisting of veteran filmmakers from various religious backgrounds, approached their work with unprecedented solemnity. Even before the mysterious events began, there was a palpable sense that this production would be different. The ancient streets of Matera, virtually unchanged since biblical times, provided an authentically haunting backdrop. This is the story of what happened during those months of filming. Events that would forever change those involved and challenge our understanding of faith and filmmaking. The morning of the Sermon on the Mount scene began like any other on set. The sky over Matera was clear, with no indication of the impending storm. Jim Caviezel, already in costume and makeup that transformed him into Jesus, stood atop the designated hill where hundreds of extras gathered below. There was a peculiar stillness in the air, recalled Sarah Martinez, one of the makeup artists. Jim was running through his lines, and everything seemed normal until the wind suddenly picked up. Within minutes, dark clouds gathered overhead, unusual for that time of year in Matera. The crew debated whether to postpone the shoot, but Gibson, noting the dramatic backdrop the clouds provided, decided to continue. It was during the delivery of the Beatitudes that it happened. "I was adjusting the camera angle," cinematographer Caleb Richardson remembered, when there was a brilliant flash. The sound was deafening. Everyone froze. Jim had been struck directly. Caviezel later described the moment in detail. "I felt a powerful surge through my entire body. It was hot, like fire, but I remained conscious. The strangest part was that I felt no fear, just an overwhelming sense of peace." The medical team rushed to his aid, expecting severe injuries, but found none. Besides some minor burns and a racing heartbeat, Caviezel was remarkably unharmed. He insisted on continuing the scene after a brief rest. "What struck me most," said Gibson in a later interview, "was Jim's composure. He got up, brushed himself off, and said, 'Let's continue.' It was as if something was compelling him to finish, despite what had just happened." The footage from that day showed the exact moment, a brilliant flash of light illuminating the entire frame, followed by seconds of electrical interference in the camera. The second lightning incident occurred just 3 weeks later, involving assistant director Jan Michelini. Unlike the clear day when Caviezel was struck, this time the weather was overcast and threatening, Michelini was coordinating the movement of extras during a scene near the crucifixion site. The rain had just started, recalled production assistant Maria Rossi. Jan was holding an umbrella, trying to keep the production notes dry. The strike came without warning. Witnesses described a blue-white flash that seemed to travel down Michelini's umbrella. The sound was like a cannon blast, said grip technician Tom Parker. Jan dropped immediately. We all thought the worst. Much like Caviezel's incident, Michelini survived with minimal injuries. But the truly extraordinary part of the story came weeks later, during the filming of the Last Supper sequence. Again, Michelini was struck by lightning, a statistical improbability that left the crew stunned. After the second strike, Jan joked that he should wear rubber boots for the rest of the shoot, remembered costume designer Rachel Thompson. But you could see it affected him deeply. He became more contemplative, more focused on the spiritual aspects of what we were filming. Gibson later commented on Michelini's experiences. Jan's incidents were different from Jim's. The strikes seemed almost targeted. It was as if something was trying to tell us something about the gravity of what we were undertaking. The lightning incidents created a profound impact on the film crew's collective psyche. Many veteran filmmakers who had worked on dozens of productions found themselves questioning their understanding of natural phenomena. "I've been in this business for 25 years, said John Matthews, the chief lighting technician. "I've worked in storms, deserts, and mountains, but I've never seen anything like what happened in Matera. The way the lightning behaved, it wasn't random." Security guard Marco Bianchi, who witnessed both strikes, provided a particularly detailed account. The whole atmosphere on set changed after these incidents. People began checking weather reports obsessively. Some crew members refused to work when clouds appeared, but others seemed almost energized by it all. The local Matera residents added their own perspectives. Anna Russo, who had lived in the area for 60 years, observed, "We get storms here, yes, but never like this. Never so precise, so focused on specific people." The medical team who treated both Caviezel and Michelini remained puzzled by the lack of serious injuries. Dr. Elena Romano, the set's chief physician, noted, "In standard lightning strikes, we expect to see severe burns, cardiac issues, neurological damage. But in both cases, the injuries were remarkably minimal." Gibson maintained a steady resolve throughout, encouraging the crew to continue their work while acknowledging their concerns. "Fear is natural," he told them during a crew meeting, "but we have to remember why we're here and what story we're trying to tell." The technical malfunctions during filming began subtly but grew increasingly frequent, particularly during crucial scenes depicting Christ's suffering. The first notable incident occurred during the Garden of Gethsemane sequence. "We were filming Jim's prayer scene," recalled chief camera operator David Chen. "The camera was perfectly maintained, fully charged, tested just hours before. But the moment we started rolling, it shut down completely. No warning, no error message, just dead." The flagellation scene proved especially challenging. 3 different cameras failed simultaneously during the first attempt to film. Sound recordist Peter Walsh described his experience. "My equipment picked up unusual interference. Not normal static or wind noise, it was like whispers, dozens of them overlapping. When we checked the recordings later, they were clear as day, but no one on set had been speaking." The lighting issues became notorious among the crew. During the crucifixion sequence, the carefully positioned lights would dim or switch off entirely. Head electrician Mike Thompson documented each incident. "We checked every connection, every generator, every bulb. Everything tested perfectly fine, then would fail the moment we started filming. The moment we called cut, everything would work again." Production coordinator Sarah Miller maintained detailed records. "Over 6 months of filming, we logged 47 major equipment failures, all during crucial scenes, all without explanation. We had backup equipment, redundant systems, nothing helped." The pattern became clear. The more emotionally or spiritually significant the scene, the more likely technical problems would occur. Gibson's response was to keep multiple cameras rolling at all times, hoping at least one would capture each take successfully. The production team brought in several technical experts to examine the malfunctioning equipment. James Morrison, a veteran Hollywood equipment specialist, conducted thorough investigations of each incident. "We ran every diagnostic test possible," Morrison explained. "The cameras were top-of-the-line Panavision models, regularly serviced. The sound equipment was from the best manufacturers, yet they failed in ways I'd never seen before." The lighting issues particularly puzzled the experts. Robert Kane, an electrical systems consultant, documented the power fluctuations. "We installed dedicated generators, separate circuits for each light bank. Still, during certain scenes, the power would drop dramatically without affecting other electrical systems nearby." The production's insurance company sent their own investigator, Thomas Webb, who spent 2 weeks on set. "What struck me was the pattern," Webb noted in his report. "Equipment would function perfectly during test runs, then fail during actual filming of specific scenes. Once those scenes wrapped, everything worked normally again." The camera manufacturers also sent representatives. "We replaced sensors, memory cards, batteries, everything," said Patricia Chen from Panavision. "But the issues persisted. The cameras would record perfectly fine for hours, then suddenly stop during crucial moments. The data logs showed no technical explanation for the failures." The persistent technical problems forced the crew to develop unique solutions. First Assistant Director Mark Thompson implemented a new protocol. "We started running at least 3 cameras simultaneously for every important scene. Even if 2 failed, we'd still have 1 working." The sound department, led by veteran recordist Jack Wilson, adopted similar redundancies. "We set up backup microphones everywhere, running multiple recording systems. When one system picked up interference, others would often remain clear." The lighting team developed their own strategies. "We installed emergency battery-powered LED units alongside our main lights," explained lighting director Susan Chen. "When the primary systems failed, we could switch over instantly without losing the shot." Gibson's response to these challenges revealed his determination. "Mel never lost his cool," remembered production manager David Ross. "He'd just say, 'Reset everything,' and we'd go again. Sometimes we'd do 15 takes of a scene, but he remained patient throughout." The crew's morale, despite the difficulties, remained surprisingly strong. "These problems brought us together," said camera operator Lisa Martinez. "We learned to anticipate issues, to work as a single unit. When equipment failed, everyone knew their role in the backup plan." The experience changed how many crew members approached their work. "After this production, I never go on set without redundant systems," Thompson later said. "The passion taught us all about being prepared for the impossible." The first sighting occurred during the early weeks of filming, as the crew shot the Sermon on the Mount. Security guard Michael Torres was the first to notice something unusual. "I was doing my regular perimeter check when I saw someone standing on the hillside. They were wearing dark clothing, just watching the filming. I radioed my team to check the area, but when we approached, there was no one there." More sightings followed during key moments of production. During the Last Supper scene, set decorator Emma Roberts had a similar experience. "I was arranging props between takes when I noticed someone standing in the doorway of the set. They were wearing what looked like a dark cloak. I turned to ask if they needed something, but the doorway was empty. The strange thing was, I felt no fear, just a deep sense of peace." The most significant sighting came during the crucifixion sequence. Camera operator David Chen described what he saw. "We were filming at dawn. I was checking the frame when I saw a figure standing behind the cameras. I initially thought it was one of our crew members, but something about their presence felt different. When I looked again, they were gone." Production assistant Maria Garcia kept a detailed log of the sightings. "Over 3 months, we had 12 documented reports, always during important scenes, always described similarly. A tall figure in dark clothing, watching silently. What struck me was how consistent the descriptions were, even from people who hadn't heard about previous sightings. The incidents became so frequent that some crew members began keeping cameras ready to document any future appearances. However, despite multiple attempts, no photographic evidence was ever captured. The sightings were corroborated by various crew members and local residents." Makeup artist Rachel Bennett shared her experience. "I was setting up early one morning in the prep tent. Through the fabric, I saw a shadow of someone standing just outside. The shape was distinctive, tall, wearing what appeared to be flowing robes. When I stepped outside to check, the area was empty, but the air felt unusually still. Local resident Antonio Romano, who lived near the filming location, provided an outside perspective. I would watch the filming from my terrace. One evening, I saw someone standing at the edge of the set. I thought it was odd because the person wasn't dressed like the crew or the actors. When I pointed it out to my wife, the figure had vanished. Even the more skeptical crew members reported unusual experiences. Chief electrician Tom Parker, known for his practical nature, recounted, "I'm not one for ghost stories, but during the crucifixion scene, I clearly saw someone watching from behind the equipment trucks. I went to check if they were authorized to be on set, but found no one. The strange thing was, multiple people saw the same thing at the same moment." Props master Sarah Jenkins added another layer. "What struck me was how the presence seemed to affect people. Those who encountered it described feeling a mix of awe and serenity, rather than fear. The repeated sightings had a profound effect on the film crew's collective mindset. Rather than causing fear or panic, the experiences seemed to foster a unique atmosphere of reverence on set. The mood changed noticeably," observed production coordinator Lisa Martinez. "People spoke in hushed tones between takes. Even the most hardened crew members seemed more reflective, more aware of the gravity of what we were filming. The impact was particularly evident during the more intense scenes." First AD Mark Thompson noted, "During the crucifixion sequence, we typically maintain professional detachment. But after these experiences, everyone approached their work with extraordinary care and respect. Some crew members began arriving early to spend quiet moments on set. It became almost meditative," said grip technician John Foster. "People would come an hour before call time just to sit and reflect. I've never seen anything like it on any other production." The experiences also strengthened the bonds between team members. "We started having dinner together more often," remembered costume designer Patricia Wong. People wanted to share their experiences, to try to make sense of what was happening. It created a unique sense of community. Gibson observed these changes with interest. The crew's dedication went beyond professional commitment. There was a sense that we were part of something larger than ourselves, something truly meaningful. The role of Jesus profoundly impacted Jim Caviezel, both professionally and personally. His transformation began during the pre-production phase and deepened throughout filming. "From the first day of preparation, I noticed changes in Jim," recalled casting director Sarah Mitchell. "He approached the role differently from any other part he'd played. He spent hours in quiet preparation, often alone, studying not just the script, but historical texts about Christ. The physical demands of the role were extraordinary. Makeup sessions started at 2 a.m., with prosthetics and makeup taking up to 8 hours to apply. During those long hours in the chair, makeup artist David Chen remembered, Jim would remain silent, using the time for meditation and reflection. It was unlike anything I'd seen in 20 years of working with actors." The crucifixion scenes particularly affected Caviezel. During filming, he endured genuine physical discomfort, including hypothermia and a separated shoulder. "The physical pain helped me understand Christ's suffering on a deeper level," Caviezel later explained. "It wasn't just acting anymore. It became a profound personal experience." The actor's dedication impressed even the most experienced crew members. Jim would stay in character between takes, noted camera operator Michael Ross. Not in a showy, theatrical way, but with quiet dignity. You could see the role changing him day by day. Gibson observed, Jim wasn't just playing Jesus, he was living the experience. The transformation went beyond method acting. He carried the weight of the role with remarkable grace and humility. The lightning strike incident seemed to deepen Caviezel's connection to the role. After that day, said his assistant Tom Baker, there was an added dimension to his performance. Something in his eyes had changed. The transformative effect of the film extended beyond Caviezel to the entire cast. Maya Morgenstern, who portrayed Mary, found herself deeply affected by her role. Playing the mother of Jesus changed me fundamentally, Morgenstern reflected. During the crucifixion scene, my tears weren't acting. The grief I felt was real, overwhelming. As a mother myself, those moments touched something deep within me. Hristo Shopov, who played Pontius Pilate, experienced his own dramatic transformation. The scene where I washed my hands of Jesus' blood, I had to stop several times, he recalled. The weight of that moment, that decision, felt unbearably real. Monica Bellucci, portraying Mary Magdalene, spoke of the unique atmosphere during filming. Even between takes, there was this profound silence on set. It wasn't like any other film I'd worked on. Every actor felt the responsibility of telling this story truthfully. Francesco De Vito, who played Peter, described his experience during the denial scene. When the rooster crowed, I wasn't acting anymore. The shame and regret I portrayed came from somewhere very real. Those emotions stayed with me long after we finished filming. What struck me, noted casting director Jennifer Phillips, was how the actors maintained their composure despite the emotional intensity. They supported each other through the most challenging scenes, creating a unique bond that lasted well beyond the production. The profound experiences during filming left an indelible mark on the entire production team. Even crew members who had worked on numerous religious films noted this production's unique impact. "I've been a cinematographer for 20 years, said Michael Richardson, but this was different. Filming the crucifixion scene, I found myself forgetting about technical aspects and becoming completely absorbed in the moment. Many of us had to take breaks to compose ourselves." The costume department experienced similar effects. Head costumer Patricia Martinez shared, "Creating these historically accurate garments, especially Jesus's bloodied robes, became a deeply moving experience. Our team would often work in complete silence, each lost in their own thoughts." The impact extended to the post-production team. Editor David Thompson recalled, "During the editing process, I found myself working differently. Usually, we maintain professional distance, but with this footage, every cut felt significant. We weren't just editing a film, we were piecing together something profound." Sound mixer Robert Chen noted changes in his team's approach. Recording the ambient sound, particularly during the crucifixion scenes, became almost meditative. The usual technical chatter disappeared. Everyone worked with extraordinary focus and reverence. Gibson observed these changes in his crew. What began as a film project became a personal journey for many. People who had worked in the industry for decades told me they would never view filmmaking the same way again. The Passion of the Christ defied all industry expectations upon its release in 2004. Opening on Ash Wednesday, the film immediately broke records, earning $83.8 million in its first weekend, despite its R rating and Aramaic Latin dialogue. The film's success surprised industry analysts. Studio executive Robert Thompson reflected, "Here was a film with no major studio backing, dialogue in ancient languages, and graphic violence, yet it resonated with audiences in an unprecedented way." By the end of its theatrical run, the film had earned over $612 million worldwide against its $30 million budget. Theater managers reported unique audience behavior. "People would sit in complete silence after screenings," said Marcus theater manager James Chen. "Many stayed through the credits, something we rarely saw with other films." The audience response was particularly notable. Sarah Martinez, who managed a multiplex in Chicago, recalled, "We had church groups booking entire showings. People would come out of the theater visibly moved, many in tears. Some would return multiple times, bringing friends and family." The film's financial success extended beyond the box office. The DVD release set records, noted distribution analyst Michael Ross. Even in international markets where religious films typically struggled, The Passion found an audience. The film crossed cultural and religious boundaries in ways we hadn't seen before. The film generated intense debate across various sectors of society. Critics and audiences were sharply divided in their responses. Film critic Robert Ebert wrote, "The film's unflinching portrayal of the crucifixion created a new standard for biblical storytelling, though its graphic nature sparked heated discussions about cinematic boundaries." Religious leaders offered varying perspectives. Pastor Michael Thompson noted, "The film brought Scripture to life in a way that deeply moved our congregation. It became a powerful teaching tool." However, others expressed concerns about its intensity. Rabbi David Cohen commented, While respecting the artistic vision, some scenes were overwhelmingly graphic for many viewers. Academic circles engaged in their own debates. Professor Sarah Williams, a religious studies expert, observed, "The film raised important questions about how we portray historical religious events. Its impact on modern religious discourse was significant." The film industry itself was divided. Studio executive James Parker remarked, "The success challenged our assumptions about religious films. It proved there was a massive audience for serious, challenging religious content." The controversy extended to public discourse. Journalist Maria Rodriguez reported, "Town halls and community centers hosted discussions about the film. It became a catalyst for deeper conversations about faith, representation, and artistic expression." The film's portrayal of historical events sparked scholarly debates. Historian Thomas Anderson noted, "The attention to historical detail was unprecedented, though some artistic liberties generated academic discussions." The cultural impact of The Passion of the Christ extended far beyond traditional religious circles. Universities began incorporating the film into their curriculum. Professor Sarah Martinez of Columbia University noted, "The film became a reference point for discussions about religious representation in modern media." The film's influence on popular culture was significant. Film historian David Chen observed, "It changed how Hollywood approached religious subjects." Subsequent biblical films paid much more attention to historical accuracy and cultural authenticity. In the art world, the film sparked renewed interest in religious imagery. Gallery curator Michael Ross explained, "We saw increased attention to religious themes in contemporary art. The film reminded people of art's historical connection to faith." The impact on international cinema was equally notable. European filmmaker Marie Dubois commented, "It opened doors for serious religious films. Producers became more willing to fund projects dealing with faith and spirituality." The film's legacy continued in unexpected ways. Years later, noted cultural analyst Lisa Thompson, its influence can be seen in everything from documentary filmmaking to theatrical productions. It raised the bar for how religious stories are told in modern media. The making of The Passion of the Christ remains one of Hollywood's most remarkable production stories. From its beginning in the ancient streets of Matera to its worldwide release, the film challenged conventional filmmaking at every turn. The key events during production created a unique narrative. Jim Caviezel's experience with the lightning strike, the repeated technical challenges during crucial scenes, and the profound impact on cast and crew members all contributed to the film's singular place in cinema history. Production manager David Ross summarized, "Looking back, what stands out isn't just the unusual events, but how they transformed everyone involved. From the most experienced crew members to local extras, no one left this production unchanged." Mel Gibson's personal investment, both financial and spiritual, set a new precedent for independent filmmaking. The decision to use ancient languages, the commitment to historical accuracy, the willingness to tackle difficult subjects, these choices redefined what was possible in religious filmmaking, noted film historian Sarah Chen. The film's journey from a controversial production to a global phenomenon demonstrated the enduring power of storytelling when combined with unwavering artistic vision. The production of The Passion of the Christ offered several profound lessons for the film industry. Producer Sarah Martinez reflected, "It showed that audiences hunger for authentic storytelling, regardless of language barriers or challenging content." The film's impact on its creators proved equally significant. Cinematographer Michael Chen noted, "We learned that technical expertise alone isn't enough. The most powerful filmmaking comes from deep personal commitment to the story being told." For the actors, the experience provided unique insights into their craft. Jim Caviezel later shared, "This role taught me that true performance comes from somewhere deeper than technique. It's about complete immersion in the story's truth." The production demonstrated the importance of unwavering vision. Gibson's dedication to his artistic and spiritual vision, despite numerous obstacles, showed what's possible when you truly believe in your project, observed studio executive David Thompson. The film's success challenged industry assumptions about religious-themed movies. It proved that faith-based films, when made with artistic integrity and emotional honesty, can resonate with audiences worldwide, noted film analyst Robert Parker. The Passion of the Christ stands as a testament to the power of dedicated filmmaking. As Mel Gibson reflected in a later interview, this film was never about creating controversy or breaking records. It was about telling a story that needed to be told. The impact continues to resonate years later. Film historian Thomas Anderson noted, "It changed how we approach religious narratives in cinema." The commitment to authenticity set a new standard for the genre. For those who worked on the production, the experience left an indelible mark. What happened during those months in Matera transcended typical filmmaking, said production manager Sarah Chen. It reminded us why we chose this profession, to tell stories that matter. As we look back on the film's legacy, its influence on modern cinema remains clear, whether through its technical achievements, storytelling approach, or impact on religious filmmaking. The Passion created a lasting blueprint for ambitious, personal filmmaking. For those interested in learning more about this remarkable production, we encourage you to explore behind-the-scenes documentaries and interviews with cast and crew members. Their first-hand accounts provide deeper insight into this unique chapter in cinema history. If you found this story of the Passion of the Christ moving, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What aspects of the production most impacted you? Have you experienced similar profound moments in your own life? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more compelling stories about groundbreaking films and the remarkable events behind them. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It helps us create more content like this. Share this video with friends and family who might appreciate this extraordinary story of filmmaking and faith. Your support allows us to continue bringing you these unique stories from cinema history. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.